not Monday. It's not 9 o'clock. But you know what? We weren't here Monday night.
We got here on you.
We decided that we were just going to do it.
Random, yeah.
And here we are.
And I'm sure everyone had it in their calendar for 9 o'clock on Monday. All the routes. So yeah, we're sorry we messed your days up on the public holiday over here in WA.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
people are always sitting and waiting for it.
Of course they are.
I'm sure.
I think my mum was once, but that's about it.
5 people.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, welcome. Today we want to have a bit of a chat about websites, and I think it's sometimes underestimated how important they are as part of a business. And you know, we get clients come to us and say, "Just give me a website," because they feel like they need one, but they underestimate, as I said before, how important it is. So, why is it so important?
Well, I think the whole idea is that most times people think it's just something they have to have. Like it's another tool in the arsenal. It's another thing, like almost like a business card. That it's kind of like, well, I got to have a website too. I think the big thing about it is that your website is pretty much everything to the market. So I use this analogy, and you guys always laugh about it, but it's the idea of training somebody about your business, who you are, what you offer, what your services are, training this person and then putting them out into this void.
Yeah, like a little. Yeah, here's your website.
But the main thing is that is now your extension of your business to the market. So your presentation, your first impression, everything that you are is now out in this void, and that is everything that people will know of your business.
And so how often do you go on a website and that little person looks terrible, his hair's out of place, he's got torn clothes, and you instantly think to consumer, not for me. You go somewhere else, right? So it's so true. I totally like the analogy.
So you have to take it seriously in terms of what is the best presentation you can put to the market. Because especially, people who don't really think about, it's got enough information, it does the job. Well, that's not really what it should do.
No.
Doing the job is not enough anymore. It has to be, and that pulls us back to this idea of the online experience. Like, I'm a big advocate of the experience your user has is going to be your first impression to that user is going to be huge. Because your first impression will be whether or not that user wants to stay for another 20 seconds and find out more about what you have to offer.
So on that, because Chris and I, we get a lot of website inquiries that come through to the business. And with those website inquiries, I feel some of them don't really know where to start, what to put in and what to expect.
Right.
So with that, understanding, and I agree, we see some websites, we see the website, then we see what the business is when we go and visit them, and we say, they're total opposites. I would not have expected this to be in this manner. So
I had a client today,
I was going to ask, share a bit then, if we are, some points which you would recommend, doesn't matter who's developing a website for them, what would you recommend that website should
You're gonna know my first answer. What is it?
Video?
Yes.
Yeah, video.
100%. Because I think when you talk about a first impression, the second you go to
I'm going to get that right.
You said it, you held back. You should have just let it out.
We delayed it for 5 seconds. Too.
Can you chop that out?
No, we're not doing that. But no, a video is really one of those things where, it seems kind of like common sense, but the second you put a background video or any kind of video, I say background video because sometimes you see a website that'll come on and it'll have like an embedded video but sits with a play button. That's not enough. I think a background video, if I'm a company that's a factory and I make certain types of products, right? Seeing the factory, seeing the production of that product, seeing the product on the shelf, that makes me feel more like, okay, I get an idea of what you do. Like a lot of the time when we have these larger industrial companies that we work for that have massive trucks or fleets, we always do like drone footage going above the top of their factory, showing the size of the trucks, showing the size of the factory. And right away you get an idea. It's like, oh, these guys are the real deal. All right, I get what this company does.
It's like that first impression, as if you were walking through the establishment, seeing it's that first impression without you being there, really.
Right.
Isn't it?
Right. And then you have, but again, you have other types of videos like WA Spaceport, which is not something that's directly showing, what is the actual physical location, but it's the atmosphere and it is the representation of the passion behind the project is also a great way of using video. But the second you come onto a website and you see, like we have a good website, Discovery of Play, which is one that I always kind of, talk about because.
And that B-roll's going running for this.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
So Discovery at Play is a child's daycare center, right? So as a parent, you're going to be going across all these different websites looking for a daycare center for your child, right?
Yeah.
The second you come across a website that showcases the atmosphere and the fun and the staff working with the children and all this, really, you get so many good vibes looking at this video, and you haven't even scrolled yet. But if you're going to other websites that are daycare centers that are just like a flat image, a few icons or illustrations of apples and stuff like that. It's kind of like, you are now getting an idea.
You stand out from the crowd.
But again, this is that person you've trained, right? So that person you've trained.
The
little person?
Sorry, that's good. Yeah. They're not necessarily little. They can be any size.
Can they be any size?
I only say that because you guys keep walking me the fingers, but the main thing is when you've trained that person and put them out into the void, that is now the representation of your business. Yeah. So this person is very lackluster. They're very flat. They don't have any energy. They're not really showing who you really are. Yeah. Where the video is somebody who has passion about what they're saying. They understand that you as a user need to be involved and invested right away. Because
I always think of a 15, 30 second like corporate video or video showing the business.
Yeah.
You can say so much more about your company and your brand and the alignment than you can with the whole rest of the website.
100%.
So you know exactly what they do, who they are, what they're about, who their target audience is, everything, instead of me scrolling for a whole website. So I know instantly. And the reverse effect of that is if you haven't got that and instantly you don't get me and show me who you are, probably not in.
And I think that's the type of thing too, like when you have a good video that is your kind of first impression, people are a lot more visually, like they need that visual stimuli. Like you don't have a lot of time and they basically kind of switch off quickly if you're not giving them something that they want the second they come on.
That's a good point what you just said, a good video.
Yeah.
So what is a good video? Because sometimes we see videos but we still don't connect to it, don't we?
That's actually
so it's
really
how it's being put together, like Netlink.
Yeah.
Like the Netlink videos.
Yes. Yeah. So those kind of videos, the big thing is that what we said, I think one of the other episodes was that people have no time. So you have to be mindful of their time. So if you want to get a couple things across, you have to edit it in a way where it's a little bit snappy, not too fast where it becomes kind of disruptive, but enough to get enough information through quickly. Yeah. So something like what we were talking about with like the daycare center, you wouldn't just hover and sit on one shot for like 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You do a little bit of this, then you go in and now you see the kids playing with some blocks or doing something, and then you go to lunch, and then you have all these things. So you're almost kind of, most of the time with a video, you're trying to do a narrative storytelling from start to finish. So it's a storytelling element. So you kind of like, okay, this is what happens in the morning, and this is what they're doing during the afternoon. Then they go out to the garden, and then they come back in, they have lunch. So you're cutting it all together in a way where people feel like they've just gone through a day at that daycare. Yeah. So that's the type of thing that you want to do. Same with Netlink. You want to try to get across all the different attributes of what they have to kind of offer the market quickly, but not in a way that's too fast, unless you're doing something like V-Race, which is virtual racing. That's quick, that's high octane, that's fast, because people are going to be more expecting that type of energy. Yeah. So you're right, every video has to be thought out and it has to be kind of figured out.
I remember a clear discussion, and you came into this meeting where we were talking about UX design, and there was this video application for this. It was actually nothing too sexy. It was actually conveyancing settlements.
Right. Yeah.
And this brought up
everything.
Brought up this video.
Yeah.
But watching the video, and there was overlays, if you remember, and it just, for me, and it's personal, for me it was the site that he brought up, which I felt was the worst site.
Right.
And when we got Chris into the meeting and we started talking about the design aspect, he brought up this video again, this website for Chris to see as well.
He didn't hold back, did he?
And he did the whole assessment on that, and he was bringing out all the reasons on what he would have done and the reasons why to this whole video development on this thing. And it made sense. It made sense. Everything that we were seeing, that why I felt it didn't feel right. Yeah, he put the actual knowledge behind it. Yeah,
and I think that's right. Like, you can have a really good looking website that's quirky and fun, but it needs to serve a purpose as well. It needs to be able to showcase what you are, what you're about. Like, it can't just look good.
Like, be accessible. You know how you work through it and use it.
doorways. I like the doorways.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Doorways and paths.
Creative doorways, that whole idea of a journey path. Yeah, little feet moving.
I'm going to squash that. It's okay.
But I think one of the things too that it creates a feeling of being invited straight away, and I kind of associate it with. I remember one time, and it was really a weird kind of experiment. Was that I don't know why I was going there. I was going to the Louvre website, right? I wanted to see what the Louvre website looked like.
You're such a website geek.
I know.
Yeah.
I was going, but I went onto it with like internet was really slow, and when I went onto it, it was only the thumbnail holding screen, which was basically just that pyramid shape, and it was that real nice. And I felt so disappointed because I was like, "This is the Louvre. Like this should have like video of walking through and seeing the paintings and the sculptures." But it did, and the second it loaded properly, I was like, I felt like it was alive. Like it started to actually feel good to kind of scroll through this website. But that top section, but until that video loaded, and again, that was just completely me with having the slow internet, but it felt wrong. And that's the main thing is when you come to the site and it actually starts inviting you to, you know, be a part of this journey with them, you feel more connected to it. And you feel more like, and we talked about this before, where you have a good video, and as you start scrolling, all the other elements feel like they have more weight to them and more credibility. The second that kind of drew you down, we saw it on the Sonos website. The second you start scrolling down, you're like, oh, I feel connected to this content more than if I just had a flat visual at the top.
Well, something terrible happened. We've gone over 10 minutes. 11 minutes, 19, 20 seconds.
If you don't walk one more time with the little fingers, there we go.
There we go.
So,
Just
you know,
leaves everyone out there.
I guess I'll finish with a question that, like, have a look at your own website. Does it align with your brand? Are you proud of that as an employee of your business, taking your message out to the big wide world?
Right.
If clients hit your website, potential clients hit your website, is that little person? That person.
The trained professional that you've sent out into the void.
Is your website a trained professional? So let's leave it there, boys.
Awesome.
Thanks again. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Behind the glass doors.